Imagine a truly grand vision, aiming to transform skill development across an entire nation.
Right.
Now, picture that vision at a crossroads, kind of forced to take two vastly different paths.
It's a fascinating story, isn't it? Audacious ambition, yes, but also these profound strategic pivots. We're diving into Project Antaryami today.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, I think, is that it started out purely commercial, a big business idea, but then it went through this incredible strategic re-envisioning, and bam, it becomes a social enterprise.
A remarkable pivot, definitely. And you, our listener, you've given us just an incredible stack of sources for this deep dive.
Yeah, loads of material.
Everything from the initial business plans, revised investment analyses, even detailed roadmaps. We're going to try and unpack all of it.
Yeah, our mission today is really to cut through the layers of Project Antaryami. We want to understand exactly how its business model evolved.
Compare the money side with the social goals.
Exactly. Compare its financial goals with its social aspirations, and really highlight those surprising strategic shifts, because they genuinely seem to offer a blueprint for other large-scale ventures.
Not just in India, maybe globally, too.
Could be, yeah.
Globally.
I think there's some really powerful lessons here about aligning profit with purpose. So, to really grasp Project Antaryami, we have to start at the beginning, right? The genesis.
Absolutely. The very small seed, as you called it earlier.
The Antaryami VA Academy. Looking at the initial concept in the sources, it seems incredibly practical, self-contained, almost like a focused proof of concept.
Precisely. It was conceived as a straightforward, skill-based training center, just for virtual assistants.
Okay.
Think of it as a focused solution, hitting a very clear market need. They offered a 1-month VA training course and also a train-the-trainer certification program.
How was it delivered? Online? Offline?
It was hybrid, a mix of offline and online,
Yeah.
and the batch size was kept fairly small, about 25 to 30 students.
And who are they targeting? Who needed these VAs, according to the plan? The initial target audience was, well, broad but specific, if that makes sense. Graduates, homemakers, rural youth, and freelancers looking to upskill.
Right, and the cost.
The initial fee per student was set at 25,000 rupees, which is, what, roughly $300 US?
Okay, so this wasn't just a plan on paper, was it? It sounds like it was a real-world test lab.
It really was.
What did this initial academy actually prove? What clicked?
It proved several critical things. First, there was definite, tangible demand for job-ready VAs. People wanted this.
Okay.
Second, it showed that a standardized curriculum could, in fact, make people employable quite quickly.
Yeah.
And, crucially, financially. The numbers looked incredibly encouraging.
What were those early financial metrics? How much did it cost to set up?
Okay, so the initial set of costs were 10,50,000 rupees. That's about 12,500 US. Covered essentials like, 15 computers, furniture, projector, internet.
Standard stuff. And running costs.
Monthly running costs were projected around 2,20,000 rupees, so about 2,600 US a month.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty standard small business setup. But here's the aha moment that really jumped out at me from the sources. Their break-even point.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredibly low.
Astonishingly low. Just 9 students a month.
Only 9 students per month. That seems almost hard to believe for a training academy.
It really validated their fundamental unit economics. It proved the core model was sound, it was viable, even at that really small scale. This wasn't just, a modest success. It was powerful validation. It showed the foundation was solid enough to build something much, much bigger on.
That's really compelling. So beyond just the basic viability, what was the actual secret sauce in their curriculum? What made students genuinely job ready? It sounds like they promised a real pathway, not just, a certificate.
Exactly. And that was key. The curriculum was designed to be comprehensive and hyper-practical. It covered essential technical tools like MS Office, Google Workspace, crucial CRM systems, customer relationship management stuff.
Right.
Plus, how to navigate the big freelancing platforms like Upwork and Fiverr.
So it wasn't just about knowing the software. It was about the business of being a VA, how to actually get work.
Precisely. Beyond the tech, they really emphasized vital soft skills. Client management, professional communication, productivity tools like Trello, Slack, Zoom were covered.
Okay.
And crucially, they offered certification support and direct placement guidance. So this focus on practical skills and actual job outcomes, it was baked in from the very beginning. It's a thread we'll definitely see weaving through their entire journey.
Okay, so that initial academy, that small seed, it proved its worth.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it clearly wasn't the end of the story. It felt like merely the overture to something far, far grander.
Absolutely. That initial success became the launch pad for an incredibly ambitious, I mean, almost audacious second act. Project Antaryami was suddenly envisioned on a national, maybe even global scale.
And what was this grand commercial vision? What kind of staggering money were they talking about initially? This is where it gets wild, right?
Here's where the scale just explodes. Project Antaryami was imagined as a massive, purely commercial franchise network. Forget the single academy.
Right.
The goal was truly national,
Yeah.
achieving coverage in over 18,000 PIN codes across India.
18,000 PIN codes. That's essentially every single postal area in the entire country, isn't it? That's just
Yeah.
incredible market penetration they were aiming for.
It is. And the ambition wasn't, completely unfounded. The total addressable market in India for skill development, corporate training, it's estimated at over 75,000 crores,
Wow.
which is roughly 9 billion US dollars annually. So the pie was massive, and they intended to capture a huge slice.
Okay, but to tackle that kind of market, the investment must have been equally staggering. What were the projections?
They were indeed eye-watering. The total projected investment for this original commercial plan was somewhere between 3,280 and 5,325 crores over 5 years.
Oh, okay. Translate that for us.
That's approximately 390 million to 630 million US dollars.
Over $500 million US dollars. Just for phase one, what was that huge chunk covering?
Phase one alone needed 150 to 250 crores, so about 18 million to 30 million US dollars.
Yeah.
And this was primarily for developing a really robust tech platform, a sophisticated learning management system, an LMS, a virtual working environment, mobile apps, the full digital infrastructure, plus huge content development efforts and setting up the initial 100 franchise locations.
That is a colossal gamble. So to justify that kind of upfront investment, the projected returns must have been equally immense. What kind of revenue streams were they chasing with this purely commercial approach?
Oh, the model aimed for aggressive commercial returns through incredibly diverse streams. Think significant franchise fees, maybe 2 to 5 lakhs per franchise.
Which is about...
2,400 to 6,000 US dollars per location, just to get started.
Okay, that's just the entry fee.
Exactly. Then ongoing royalties, maybe 8-12% of the franchise revenue. Direct training fees from students ranging from 5,000 to 25,000 rupees, so $60 to $300 US dollars. Certification fees, big corporate training contracts, maybe even technology licensing down the line.
And placement fees too, right? I saw that mentioned.
Exactly. A substantial slice, 10 to 15% of a placed candidate's first-year salary.
Wow.
And the projected financial ROI was incredibly high, as you'd expect, ranging from 40.5% on the conservative side
Still amazing.
to an optimistic 165.7% annually by year 5. With net profits potentially exceeding 5,400 crores, that's over 640 million US dollars.
Good grief.
Break-even was anticipated by year 3 or 4.
Wow. Okay. Those are truly dazzling numbers, really a billion-dollar dream scenario. But with such high projections, I have to imagine there were equally significant high-risk factors flagged in the sources. What were the red flags?
Oh, absolutely. The sources flagged considerable risks.
Yeah.
Concerns about, market saturation eventually setting in, challenges with technology adoption, especially across vast rural areas where digital literacy might be lower, or connectivity an issue.
That makes sense. Big hurdle.
Huge hurdle. And just the sheer difficulty of maintaining quality control across potentially 18,000 plus locations. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, that sounds like a logistical nightmare, frankly.
Exactly. So this pure commercial play, prioritizing profit above absolutely everything else, it kind of foreshadowed a major strategic rethink that was maybe needed.
Right. So this purely commercial plan, stratospheric projections, but equally dizzying risks, it felt like a massive high-stakes gamble. Was there a specific moment, maybe a stark reality check in the sources that prompted them to just slam the brakes on this incredibly lucrative path and fundamentally rethink everything?
Absolutely. And this is where the story of Project Antaryami takes its most dramatic and honestly quite counterintuitive turn. Instead of doubling down on that capital-intensive high-risk commercial model, they did a complete U-turn. A radical strategic pivot.
A pivot to what? And what was the immediate financial impact of that decision? Because that's huge.
They slashed their projected investment by a staggering 85%.
85%. That's almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
From billions down to what?
And completely re-envisioned the whole thing as a social enterprise.
Yeah.
So the total investment estimate for this re-envisioned model dropped dramatically to just 618 to 902 crores. roughly $73 million to $107 million US.
That's just a world of difference, from
Yeah.
potentially needing over $500 million down to maybe just over 100 million.
It's night and day. Thousands of cores down to hundreds.
What does that reveal about their new strategy, that massive cut?
I think this profound shift reveals a really critical insight
Right.
for truly transformative social impact, especially at scale. A rigid profit maximization mindset.
Right.
Well, it can sometimes be a barrier. By embracing the social enterprise model, they weren't just cutting costs. They were unlocking a different kind of capital, impact investment, and aiming for a fundamentally different, far greater kind of ROI that goes way beyond just the financial returns.
Okay, so they've slashed the investment by 85%, which is huge, yet they still want this massive social impact. How on earth do they plan to fund this drastically cheaper vision and actually remain sustainable, especially while embracing this whole social enterprise idea?
Yeah, that's the core challenge, isn't it? Balancing deep impact with financial viability. Their core philosophy for this social enterprise version is explicitly mission-driven now.
Okay.
They're prioritizing employment generation and social good over simply maximizing profit. It's become community-centric, focusing on local ownership, local participation, still technology-enabled, but with a digital-first, much lower-cost infrastructure.
And sustainable.
And critically, designed to be self-sustaining within the community. That's key.
How do they fund it then, if not purely with traditional commercial investors chasing those huge ROIs?
They're leveraging what's called a blended finance approach.
Blended finance. Okay, break that down. What does that mean in practice for a project like this?
It basically means they're strategically weaving together different types of money.
Good.
So you have impact investors, right? People looking for both social and financial return.
Okay, got it.
Then government grants, tying into national skill initiatives like India's National Skill Development Corporation, the NSDC, corporate social responsibility, CSR funds, that's a big piece.
Right. Companies have to spend that.
Exactly. And even small, modest community contributions from the participants themselves, maybe a small fee.
So it's like a financial mosaic, you said, where each piece plays a different role.
Precisely. This financial mosaic allows them to chase that deep social impact in a way traditional profit-first funding just wouldn't support. It's about diversifying the capital base to align with this much broader mission.
That makes perfect sense for sustainability and scale, getting buy-in from different places. But how are they actually implementing this on the ground? It's still a huge vision, even if it's cheaper overall. What does the operational model look like now?
They've adopted a very clever, tiered hub-and-spoke model. It gives massive reach while inherently driving down that big central investment needed.
Okay, tiered how?
They envision 750 district hubs. Those are the main centers, costing about 10 to 15 lakhs each, so $12,000 to $18,000 US.
Okay.
Then below that, 6,000 block centers, costing maybe 3 to 5 lakhs each, 3,600 to 6,000 US.
Getting cheaper.
And finally, right down at the village level, over 12,000 access points, costing a mere 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees each. That's like 600 to 1,200 US. Because they're utilizing existing shared spaces, community halls, libraries, with just minimal tech.
Wow. Still massive reach, but built incredibly lean. So what were the specific innovative cost optimization strategies? How did they actually achieve that 85% cut in projected investment? Where did the savings come from?
It's truly ingenious looking through the sources. On the technology side, huge changes. Instead of building expensive proprietary systems, they adopted open-source LMS customization. They fostered community-driven content development, getting users involved.
Smart.
Shifted to cloud-native pay-per-use infrastructure, meaning they only pay for what they actually use, like a utility bill for their software.
Yeah.
Huge savings there. And critically, everything designed mobile first with vital offline capability for those rural areas where internet can be spotty or non-existent sometimes.
That covers the tech costs, making it much more adaptable. But what about the physical footprint? Thousands of locations still need buildings, equipment, right, even if they're using shared spaces.
They became incredibly resourceful there, too. Instead of building new facilities, they partnered with existing community centers, schools, libraries, village meeting halls, you name it. They leverage shared resources wherever possible. They lease equipment instead of buying outright, huge capital saving. And even use refurbished equipment and local manufacturing when they can. It's a complete shift in mindset from build it big to use what's there.
Okay. And operationally, Staffing and managing this lean model across so many places without compromising quality. How?
They rely heavily on community coordinators. These are people often working on stipends rather than full salaries, deeply embedded within the local community, trusted figures.
Total ownership again.
Exactly. They also foster peer-to-peer learning among students, reducing the need for constant top-down instruction, and use performance incentives to motivate everyone. This radically changed their entire cost structure, making it much more resilient and really fostering that local ownership. It's about empowering local communities to become part of the solution, not just recipients of training.
That's a really impressive blend of resourcefulness and smart lean design. So the revenue model for this social enterprise version must also be drastically different from that initial high-fee commercial plan. How do they plan to generate funds now beyond that blended finance piece we talked about?
It's highly diversified, and the focus is really on accessibility now. Beyond the grants and impact investment, they expect modest community contributions, maybe 100 to 500 rupees per training session.
So about $1 to $26 US, very affordable.
Very affordable, making it highly accessible. Then robust government partnerships, tapping into those national skill development schemes. Corporate CSR funds, of course, are still important, and much smaller micro-franchise fees for the local centers, maybe around 10,000 to 50,000 rupees, 120 to 600 US, manageable for local entrepreneurs to get started.
And there's that unique success-based earnings model you touched on. How exactly does that work?
Yes, that's the real alignment piece. I think they take a small percentage, the sources say maybe 5% of a placed candidate's salary, but only for the first 6 months after they get the job through the program.
Ah, so they only earn if the person actually succeeds and stays employed for a bit. That directly aligns everyone's incentives with student success. That's clever.
Precisely. It's a win-win. They succeed, the student succeeds. Plus, additional revenue could come from digital services offered through the platform and potentially social impact bonds in the future. This whole blend allows for true sustainability without needing that massive upfront commercial capital, enabling the project to stand on its own feet while chasing that deep social mission.
It's truly incredible how just shifting the underlying model can completely transform the financial and social landscape of a project this big. What truly stands out to you about the projected impact of this social enterprise model, especially when you put the two visions side by side, the commercial versus the social?
What's really fascinating here is the deliberate choice they made. It's clear from the documents.
Yeah.
They consciously chose to prioritize broad social transformation, but crucially, while still maintaining financial viability. It's not a charity model. It's designed as a self-sustaining engine for change.
Right.
So while the original commercial plan offered potentially higher financial ROI, that dazzling 40 to 165% we talked about, this social enterprise model, still projects a very respectable 29 to 31% annual financial ROI.
That's still a very decent return. Enough to attract serious impact investors, surely.
Absolutely. It needs to be sustainable. But the real showstopper, the truly transformative figure that jumps off the page in these reports, is the projected social ROI.
Social ROI. Okay, how do they even measure that? What does that look like?
They estimate it at a phenomenal 80 to 110 times the initial investment.
80 to 100 times. Wow.
Yeah. In tangible terms, by year 5, this translates into creating potentially 2 to 5 million direct and indirect jobs, training 10 to 20 million people,
Yeah.
and generating a massive 50,000 to 100,000 crores. That's roughly 6 billion to 12 billion US dollars in economic value for the country, just by enabling employment and higher earnings for people.
6 to 12 billion US dollars in economic value just from skilling people. That is truly impactful. It completely redefines what return on investment can mean, doesn't it?
It really does. In a world often obsessed with, quarterly profits, Project Antaryami seems to be betting on the long game, on the compounding effect of human potential and community strength. It fundamentally challenges what we typically mean by return.
And the success metrics they've set for themselves, they're remarkably specific and measurable, too, based on the sources. What are they actually aiming for?
They're very specific. The sources list clear rater, key performance indicators, KPIs. For instance, aiming for an 80% job placement rate for their graduates. That's ambitious and really powerful if they hit it. A 200% average salary increase for people post-training. 90% community satisfaction. And really importantly, specifically, a target of 50% women participation and 60% rural participants. Emphasizing deep inclusion, reaching underserved areas.
That focus on inclusion is key.
Absolutely. And this whole package, The structure, the metrics, the potential impact, it's explicitly described in the documents as highly suitable for impact investors. It showcases that deep social change can go hand in hand with meaningful, sustainable returns. It aims to create that self-reinforcing cycle. Success fuels more impact, which fuels more success.
Okay, so bringing this full circle then, back to that initial Antaryami VA Academy we talked about right at the very beginning, that small seed. How does that original concept fit into this massive social enterprise machine today? Is it still a core engine for both the financial sustainability and the social goals?
It's absolutely integrated. It wasn't discarded. The initial VA Academy concept isn't gone. It's now evolved into a specific training to employment franchise within the larger Project Antaryami framework,
Yeah.
focusing particularly on high-demand areas like, say, digital marketing assistance. It basically transforms Project Antaryami into a comprehensive talent development and VA services company. It does both.
And you mentioned a guaranteed employment pathway earlier. How does that specific aspect differentiate them in what must be a pretty crowded market for skills training these days?
That seems to be the core differentiator, their unique selling proposition, their moat, if you like.
Hmm.
The training is explicitly pitched as a job opportunity tied directly to the training. They guarantee placement into their own VA network,
Right.
which addresses that major pain point for learners. Okay, I do this course, but will I actually get a job afterwards? Few others can guarantee that so directly, especially at their price point.
That's a huge value proposition for learners, isn't it? Removing that big uncertainty. So for the franchisees running these academies now, under this integrated model, what's their incentive? How does the money flow to make it attractive for them to run these centers?
Yeah, the model offers attractive dual revenue streams for the franchisees, which is key to scaling. First, there's the training revenue share. They typically keep a high percentage of the course fee.
Like how much?
Well, the sources give examples. For an offline course, a franchisee might retain 60% of a, say, 25,000 rupee course fee. That's 15,000 rupees, about 180 US for them. The central hub gets the other 40%.
Okay. And that hub share covers central costs, curriculum, the platform.
Exactly. Central costs, platform maintenance, curriculum updates, quality control. That's stream one.
Okay, stream one is training fees. What's the second stream?
The second, and arguably crucial for long-term alignment, stream is the VA network revenue. The central hub retains a percentage. The example given is 30% of the monthly billing for each VA placed through the network.
Okay.
So from an average 15,000 rupee monthly billing per VA, about 180 US, the central hub gets around 4,500 rupees, 50/40 AS. This provides a consistent ongoing income stream for central operations and growth.
And the franchisee?
Yeah.
What's their potential?
For the franchisee, the monthly earnings potential looks quite strong. Sources indicate a franchisee can earn around 3.15 lakhs per month. That's over $3,700 US CAD, combining both the training revenue share and income from the VA network projects managed through them.
I see. So they're heavily incentivizing the franchisees to train people effectively, knowing the central hub will then benefit from the ongoing network participation. It aligns everyone.
Exactly. It creates shared success.
This clear split in revenue seems vital for both sustainability and just getting franchisees excited and invested. How does this whole setup, the price, the model, that guarantee stack up against other players in the market, the big established names or those premium online platforms?
It really carves out a unique position for them. You have established players like NIIT, for example, with a strong brand and a wide range of IT courses, but perhaps a less integrated direct-to-placement focus specifically for VAs like this.
Right, broader focus.
Then you've got the premium online platforms Kraftschella or Upgrad come to mind from the comparisons in the docs. They often offer placement guarantees and high-touch support, absolutely. But their fees are significantly higher. We're talking 60,000 to 1.36 lakhs plus tax. So roughly 720 to over 1,600 US dollars.
Yeah, that's a completely different market segment price-wise.
Exactly. And then at the other end, you have free or very low-cost global certifications from places like Google or Coursera. Great for access to learning content, for sure. But they typically lack that direct structured placement support into a specific network.
Right. You get the knowledge, but not necessarily the job pipeline.
Precisely. So Project Antaryami's advantages seem clear. That aggressive franchise revenue share makes it attractive to run locally, the pricing is affordable for the target audience, the model is focused, and crucially, that guaranteed employment pathway within its own system. That's their decisive competitive advantage, their real moat.
And the proof of concept for this revamped integrated model is already showing some pretty impressive results, isn't it? What are some of the key achievements highlighted from their first year, say, as of their July 2025 impact report?
Yeah, the initial results reported are incredibly validating for the pivot. As of July 2025, they mentioned having 10 active franchisees and over 25 affiliates. They'd trained more than 1,500 students already.
Okay.
And crucially, they reported a 100% placement success rate for their graduates within their network.
100%. That's remarkable, especially starting out.
It is. Very strong signal. They also had over 250 virtual assistants deployed monthly through the network. And the total franchise earnings were apparently hitting that projected 3.15 lakhs per month per franchise figure.
So the model worked financially for the franchisees too.
Seems so. And perhaps even more impressively, the project overall achieved its break-even point within just 3 months of launching this integrated model.
Wow, very quick.
Very quick. Their Vision 2026 aims even higher, expanding to 50-plus franchisees across India, getting over 750 active virtual assistants in the network, targeting 9 crore rupees, over $1 million in monthly project revenue, integrating global freelance projects, and establishing women-led microhubs in every single district. Ambitious still.
What a journey we've really taken through Project Antaryami. From that initial, very practical idea of a single virtual assistant academy, that small seed we talked about through its incredibly expansive, almost overwhelming initial commercial vision, the billion-dollar dream phase,
To this really remarkable and frankly deeply innovative pivot into becoming a social enterprise. It's been quite a transformation to track through these documents.
this deep dive has truly shown the profound impact of simply choosing a different strategic model. How shifting from purely commercial thinking to a social enterprise framework not only drastically cut the investment needed by that staggering 85%, but also aims squarely at maximizing social impact.
And crucially, while still offering substantial, sustainable financial returns. It wasn't about abandoning financial sense.
Exactly. It really demonstrates that innovation isn't always about, fancy new technology. Sometimes it's fundamentally about the business model itself.
Precisely. It's about finding those ingenious ways to align profit with purpose.
Yeah.
Right from the core design, not as an afterthought.
So a final thought then for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. What could actually happen if more large-scale ventures started prioritizing social impact as a core integrated part of their financial sustainability model? Instead of just seeing it as an optional add-on or a CSR department thing. How might that kind of focus on community ownership, on radical cost optimization for accessibility? How might that transform not just skill development like we saw here with Project Antaryami, but maybe other traditional industries as well? Something to think about.